channel. Today I did a full face talk through for you guys, and it is starring the new Airflash. It's not new, it's just new to me. I just don't know why it took me so long to get on with it. This is the Airflash Foundation from Dior. I think I was a little bit scared of it just because I thought you would have to spray it on your face, and I was like, that sounds like a mess. But you can put it on with a brush or do like I did and use a beauty blender. And I really like how it turned out. If you would like to see how I got this full look and my thoughts on the Airflash, just keep watching. Okay, so before I go in with my foundation, I have already applied all of my skincare and let it sink in for about, I think I waited like 25 minutes this time. And I also had applied the Marc Jacobs Undercover Coconut Face Perfecting Primer. I put this on and let it sink in as well, just because I put so much on my face that I didn't want my foundation to slide off. So I did that, and now I'm going to add the primer that I put right in this area, and I'm using my favorite concoction right now. So I'm grabbing MAC's Skin Refine Zone Treatment, and I'm taking just a little dot of this, it's very small, and putting this right over my pores. This is going to help control the oil, and it kind of feels like it's shrinking your pores. It doesn't actually shrink your pores, but it does help to keep them minimized all day long. So I put this on underneath my other primer. I'm also going to put a tiny bit on my chin. And also to note, this is a treatment, so it exfoliates over time as well. So the areas that you're putting this, it's going to help exfoliate your skin, but it's non-irritating. Then once that dries and you feel it really matte in these areas, I'm going to take the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer. This is the smoothing one. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I've been storing this upside down like this so that that oily, greasy nastiness does not come to the top here. That has seemed to work for me. I don't know if anybody else has had those issues to where whenever you're squeezing it out, like all of a sudden like this wet stuff comes out and it's really gross. So if I store it upside down, that doesn't happen. Now I'm just putting this over my T-zone where I have the most oil production, and I guess I'm not even really putting it over my entire T-zone because I'm going to skip my nose and forehead. But I'm gonna minimize the appearance of my pores. There we go. Speak, Mel, you can do it. Now for the foundation. This is Dior Airflash, and my color is 201 Linen. This is a little bit lighter than my Dior Star in the same color. So I would say if you're using Dior products, make sure that you go in the store and kind of test them out because they aren't exactly the same. But before I go in with this, I'm going to note some of the key claims with this. It says it has mother of pearl pigments to even skin tone and diminish the appearance of skin irregularities and fine lines, leaving your skin glowing with optimal radiance. You can get very light coverage. They say all the way to just about full. I say it's medium, and you probably could get a full coverage out of this, but I feel like it's too heavy on the skin. So what you want to do is shake this guy up. This is so weird. And then you can either spray it straight onto your face, which I'm not going to do because it does get all into your hair and it makes a huge mess. Or, let me see, I have used it with this brush. It's really nice with this, and anything that's kind of like kabuki style or a little bit more dense you could use. You could press it into your skin or buff, but honestly, out of all the ways I have tried, I like the Beauty Blender, and I haven't seen anybody using this with a Beauty Blender, but I just kind of spray it on here and go in on the face. So that's what I'm going to do. This is not the cleanest foundation. It does kind of get everywhere, but when I spray it on like my hand or the back of my pan, I just feel like it doesn't give the same finish as to what I get when I spray it directly on the Beauty Blender. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to start pouncing this right onto my skin. Oh, it smells so good. If you don't like fragrance, you won't like Dior's foundations. So I would say that this right here, just the one spray, gives a nice, very natural look, but I'm going to apply just a little bit more to get more of a medium coverage. And I have found that if you spray further away, you don't get as much product on your beauty blender or the brush, and you don't get a very good application. So I get pretty close to it and spray it like that. And you can see I got a lot more on there, so I'm going to start on this side. Seriously, it smells so good. And I would agree with the claims that it evens out your skin tone and diminishes the pores and fine lines. I do feel like they look softer with this foundation on. I also think that you get a little bit more of a radiance when you use the beauty blender versus using a brush. My skin type is combination. I'm oily through the T-zone, kind of normal, and then dehydrated in other areas. And right now, because of my new skincare routine, I am like extremely flaky right here, to the point that I could literally pick flakes off my skin right here. And I don't feel like it accentuates it a whole lot. I can see it a tiny bit more with foundation on, but honestly, anything you put over that dry skin, you're going to see a little bit more. And this isn't just dry, it's like excessively dry. But I feel like I can definitely get away with wearing this foundation and it's not extremely noticeable. Throughout the day, this foundation does get a teeny bit more radiant. I would not say oily because it doesn't separate. It doesn't look oily. It really just looks glowy, and I adore that. But if you're looking for something that's more of a matte finish, this wouldn't be for you, but I truly love this foundation. All right, so now I'm going to go in with my concealer, and I'm using MAC's Mineralize Concealer. I'm just gonna highlight with this and press it into the skin. This is also a medium coverage concealer, very hydrating, so I love it underneath the eye, and it's long wearing as well. I'm going to set that concealer using Diffused Light by Hourglass. I'm trying to tap off my sponge. And I'm dabbing this on with the Beauty Blender. MAC Mineralize Skinfinish with my big ol' Sephora brush and pressing this into the skin. This is also going to help me warm up the foundation a tad bit because it's a little light, but I didn't want to go darker because I knew like I'm already losing my summer tan. So I'd rather warm up my foundation than try to combat it being too dark. Going in with my almost out NARS Laguna on my Marc Jacobs This Shape brush. I have really been enjoying this for my bronzer. Go in circular motions and buff this into the skin. I feel like when you use a denser brush, I know a lot of people love to use fluffy brushes for bronzer, and I do too sometimes when I'm, you know, just kind of throwing stuff on. Like I love my Marc Jacobs The Bronze brush, but I feel like when I use something like this, it lasts a little longer on my skin and it looks more airbrushed because you're truly buffing this into your skin. And when you're doing that, it creates that airbrush-like look. Now I'm going to leave the face alone until I finish my eyes. I know that's really weird, but I like to see how my eyes turn out before I decide on a blush and decide if I want highlight and all that. Just because if I put everything on, like I put a pink blush on and then I do whatever I'm feeling on my eyes, sometimes I don't always connect. So I like eyes better than blush anyway, so I'd rather work my blush around my eyes. But I'm going in and doing my brows. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. My color is an ebony. And I always start out right here and make a little line and then flick upward in this front area to fill in just a little bit. And not natural brows, basically what I'm trying to do. Brush these down. Go across here. Downward, because I'm a little sparse in this area. Brush them back up. I can't see all the way in that mirror, so we gotta grab this one. Just filling in where I need to fill in. And then extend this tail just a little bit. I like a long brow. Then I'm going to grab the MAC Pro Longwear Waterproof Brow Set. This is the love of my life for my brows. It definitely helps to hold them all in place. It's kind of like mascara for your brows. And so, you know, like mascara makes your lashes longer and thicker. And this does the same thing for your brows. So I just softly brush this through because if you get it on your skin, it is waterproof and it can be slightly difficult to get it off. So take your time when you're applying this. I have to remind myself all the time that brows are sisters, but they're not twins, and just deal with it because this brow is the angry brow and it just always wants to be different than this one. It's because this one's thicker than this one and it's the devil. But moving on, I am going to grab MAC's 24-Hour Eye Base, a little bit on this Marc Jacobs The Conceal Brush, and pop this on. You can totally pop this on just with your finger, but with my nails, I can't do that. Going in with a bone-colored shadow, I'm using MAC's Blanc Type. To set this, you can use whatever else you'd like. Now I'm going in with the much ever hated company, Lime Crime. Sorry guys, I am obsessed with this palette. I've loved it for so long and I love their liquid lipsticks and whatnot. So I'm just gonna do me. I like this stuff. I'm not going to get too far into the brand and what they did. Yes, I had money stolen out of my account. No, I do not fully blame Lime Crime. If it happens again, it's another story, but it happens to everybody. People make mistakes, and I love my products, so I'm going to use them. So if you want to see how I'm going to use this pretty palette, just keep watching, and if you don't like it, just go to the end of the video. So with this guy, I'm going to start off with Divine, and that is this gray shade right here. I am using a MAC 286, and I'm going straight into the crease first, and then buffing upwards, because this shadow can be very pigmented, and I don't want it to be too crazy right up here. I'm going to apply a few layers. Always starting in the crease though, always. And connect this outer V and go up. On the eye, this color definitely has a little bit of a purple hue to it. Doesn't look that way in the pan, but on the eye it does. If you get a little too dark around the edges, just go in with a clean blending brush. I'm using one from Sephora, and go around the edges of that shadow. Perfect! Now I'm going in with Rebirth, this orangey pink shade right here. Same brush, tap off the extra, directly into the crease. Back and forth windshield wiper motions. I'm going to bring it up a tad bit, but not too far past the crease. These colors are freaking gorgeous. Like I said, I haven't been using these in videos. It was like my very first video I did with Lime Crime stuff, and then like I think it was just a few days later that everything hit the fan and just kind of backed away. I haven't stopped using them. Honestly, I haven't stopped using them, but I just didn't want to hear it. And I guess at this point, I just don't care, you know. I know where the delete button is. But on the same token, I'm not telling you to go out and buy them if you don't like them. Totally cool. Now, same brush again, and I'm going in with this dark, freaking gorgeous color right here called Muse. And I'm picking this up, tapping off the extra, and going straight into this outer V area. Put down your brush and then just kind of wiggle, and that'll get you the most pigmentation right where you want it. And just kind of keep adding and get the depth that you would like. That's just so freaking pretty. I only want this on the outer corner. I don't want it up in the crease at all. Now I'm going to do a little bit of layering. So first I am going to grab Venus on a MAC 242, and I'm going to pack this right beside Muse. Don't go any further than the middle of your lid. Then I'm going to take the color right beside that called Shell, same brush, and I'm going right over the top of this, like right halfway over it, and packing just not all the way to that inner corner. See how it's blending for you? I wiped off my brush, and now I'm going to grab the lightest shade, Aurora. Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. And I'm going to put this right on that inner corner. Look at that highlight though. Oh my God, it's so pretty. And then slightly over that last color, Shell. Do not go above your crease with these colors. I just want them on your lid. And go just a little bit more in this inner corner. It's gonna look a little crazy at first, like really highlighted, but then I'm going to go in with my clean blending brush and go right around the edge. Just soften it a bit, but I still want that nice highlight. Take a little bit more of Aurora and go right underneath your brow bone to give it some lift there. Now I'm gonna do a wing, and I had to move this mirror in front of me because I cannot see that far away, not to do a wing at least. And I'm using e.l.f.'s black cream liner and then my good old faithful NARS 47 brush. And I'm gonna start off with my wing first to get the angle. And then I do go ahead and do the other side so that I can make sure that the angle is good and matching the best possible. Now I'll go in and do the liner across the lid. I flip my brush around and go straight in right at the lash line so that there's no like skin colored gaps right at your lash line. And then connect the wing. And fill it in. Now I'm going to go in with concealer and just clean up right here the eyeshadow. This is, again, the MAC Mineralize, a big 252, and just clean up that shadow. Again, this is great for cleaning up your wing as well. On a NARS 44 pencil brush, I'm going with the very first color that we used, Divine, tapping off the extra and then going right underneath the lash line. If you wanted this look to be a little bit more dramatic, you could go in with the darker Muse shade. That would be beautiful. I just want it to be a little bit softer. Same brush, I am grabbing the highlight shade Aurora and just going right here underneath this bottom part, on the bottom lash line on the inner corner. Going right over top of Divine. Just want to highlight this inner corner just a tad bit more. Going to pop on some mascara, and I'm using MAC's Upward Lash. Then we know we're going to apply falsies. We're going to apply some falsies whenever we get done with this. Make sure you apply to top and to your bottom. Doing your bottom lashes really opens up your eye. But another trick, if you feel like your eyes are a little bit more downward or you feel like they're sagging looking, that's just an awful word. But if you feel that way, skip your bottom lashes and it'll give you a more upward appearance. Now I'm going to add back in my freckle with MAC's Taupe Pencil. I'm a little nervous that my skincare that I'm using now is going to get rid of that freckle. So I'm trying to like avoid those areas so that maybe my freckle will stay. So my camera stopped rolling. Sorry about that. So while the camera had stopped rolling and I didn't realize it, I had put on my MAC 3 lash. So that is what I have on my eyes now. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to lips. Lip primer anyway. So I'm going to take my lip primer and go ahead and put this guy on. I do this first so that it's nice and set and ready to go whenever I put on my lipstick. So it has time to get to where it needs to be, which is a little bit sticky or tacky while I'm doing my blush. Today I'm going to use Mood Exposure by Hourglass. I'm going to pop this on my cheeks using a MAC 129 brush. My brushes don't hurt my face as much anymore, which is so nice. If you're new to my channel, my brushes were hurting my face because I started new skincare using a form of Retin-A and my face turned really red and really sensitive and it's not so bad anymore. Taking my new 139 and buffing this out. I want to contour, but I don't want to do anything too heavy. So I'm going to use the Marc Jacobs Light Filtering Duo. Mine is in number 44. I'm going to grab the darker shade on a MAC 135. I'm using this because it's going to be much softer and not as dense, so it won't pack on the color. I'm going to carve out a little bit of my cheekbones, sides of my nose, and then down here, up here. You see how much softer that is than using like my typical NARS Ita or even my limited edition MAC brush that I love. Going back in with that same 139 and blending. You can use your MAC 187 like I used to use. This one's just softer and I like it a little bit better. It's also nice whenever my 187 is dirty, and right now it is dirty. Going to pop on a little bit of MAC Accentuate, you know my jam, with a MAC 159 and just on the tops of my cheekbones. Down the bridge of my nose, the tip of my nose. And that's about as much as I'm going to do today. Spray a little Fix Plus. And that does not set your makeup, it just makes the powders look more like skin, and I put a whole lot of powder on my face, so that's why I'm doing that. Make sure the Fix Plus is nice and dry and set on your skin before you add anything else, because if you don't, it'll look like a cakey mess and you won't want that. But now I'm going to take a little bit of the Laura Mercier, it's the translucent setting powder, and I'm going to grab this on my MAC 137. Just want a little bit. I'm going to put this right here on my pores, and this is going to help me stay a little bit matte just in these areas, because this is where I don't like to get too shiny. Everywhere else I'm going to leave alone. Now for lips, I'm using Lime Crime's Faded Liquid Lipstick. This is honestly my favorite liquid lipsticks. Like, they make the best. In my personal opinion, they last long. If I have the primer on, they're not too drying. Any of the liquid lipsticks or matte lipsticks without the primer for me is too much. I don't like the way it feels, so I always wear the primer with them. These smell like cupcakes and they last really, really long. And this color is perfection. So this is Faded all by itself. I did not have to use anything other than the doe foot applicator to put it on. This is not a sticky formula. It does not separate. It does not make my lips look funky. And I love this formula. It is my favorite by far, and I've tried a few. There are a few that I like, but this one's just my favorite. So to each their own. If you don't like this, just use something else. I do think I want to put a gloss on top today just because I want it to be extra spunky. So I'm going to use the Lorac Alter Ego Gloss in CEO and going right on top of this. Okay guys, so that's the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this. I truly, really, truly love this foundation. I don't know which one I like more. I probably still like the Dior Star a little bit more than this, mainly because it's just a little easier to put on, but I can see myself repurchasing this for sure. It's very long lasting. I didn't have any issues with it separating. I just think it's beautiful and it gives you a glow without it being like oily and gross. So aside from having to like spray it and the price, which I believe it's like $62, which is a little steep, and my Dior Star is $50, but still, I really do like this. It's about time that I found another foundation that I like because I have not had any luck at all. And I would highly recommend that you pick it up if you were interested in it before and weren't sure about it. I say give it a shot. If you get it from Sephora, you can always take that back because that is what I always do. I did end up taking back the Marc Jacobs Remarkable. I did take it back and I picked up another foundation that I'm going to try, and we'll see how that one works out. Anywho, if you liked this tutorial, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, do it all. I appreciate you guys, and come back.